This is the Environmental Protection Commission, regular meeting Wednesday, November 1st, 2023. First item of business is new business, EPC 30-2023, 12 Stonewall Lane, B. Shane and M. Shane, to construct residential additions, drainage, and other related features proximate to the wetlands and watercourses. The property lies along the south side of Stonewall Lane, approximately 780 feet west of Mansfield Avenue, and is identified as map number 5, lot number 9. The zone is R2, and it is approximately 2.03 acres. Rick?
Mr. Chairman, this application has made its way to the agenda tonight for acceptance, meaning that we start the statutory time clock for the review of the application and for the commission to make a determination as to the necessity of a public hearing or not. Staff has been to the site and will be generating a list of information deemed necessary to have a thoughtful review of the application. I welcome your comments, and we'll give them notice of the acceptance and anything else that we need to move forward.
Okay. Any commissioner have questions or comments?
I have two simple ones, if I may. Maybe the first one is really for Rick. I think it is not west of Mansfield Avenue, it's west of Brookside Road.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for the application to be thorough and complete, maybe this is also to you, Rick. When I reviewed the application, I took note of the abutting property owners within 100 feet. There's that schedule that's included in the packet. What struck me was, and maybe this is because you can update us on timing, but 9 Stonewall Lane was not one of the identified 100 abutters, although I think we've all been told that maybe that property was sold in the subdivision of 175 Brookside. Maybe not.
The other thing I'd say is that, that's something they went ahead and did. It's not necessary unless we have a public hearing.
They,
The applicant.
Yeah, it's 12 Stonewall. The applicant does not have to notify 100, all the abutters.
does
With
not
it-
have to.
Because it's not a public hearing.
Unless you determine a public hearing, then they
If it's a
will
public
have-
hearing, then absolutely 100%. But this isn't, we haven't determined if this needs a public hearing. If it does,
Okay.
then they have to.
Okay. That distinction I wasn't even
Yep.
aware of, but I wanted to point it out on the
Yep,
abutter list just for accuracy.
perfect.
No further questions.
Carolyn?
I just have one very minor question. I'm looking at the map, and it looks like the stockpiled material is half in and half out of the upland review area. Is there any reason why any of it has to be in the upland review area? Can't they just shift it a little bit out? I mean, it's just, it's kind of minor, but, if it doesn't have to be in the upland review area, it shouldn't be, right?
Mhm.
That's all I had.
Yeah, I spoke with the homeowner when I was out there, and they were really nice and welcoming and open. And I just think I think they're just going to remove like one or two like small plants or trees. The one tree that they're going to remove looks to be dead.
Right.
So I wasn't. I suggest like a smaller kind of planting plan might be helpful. I don't think they're touching anything in the wetlands area. But then also, we didn't I couldn't identify where the wetlands started. I didn't see flags out there when I went in person. And maybe it would be a good idea to ask them to demarcate if the others think that that's a good idea too, where the wetlands are. I don't mean run out and flag it. I just mean, sometimes we suggest boulders if that's a good idea or something else, but, something we think to demarcate.
You mean you want the wetlands to be reflagged, or?
Well, so that the landscapers don't go into that area that they're keeping.
As part of
that they're
a
keeping
demarcation.
clean. Yeah. And
Okay.
they said they don't plan on touching it, it's just
Mhm.
really just to keep it,
Okay.
that's it.
I just have,
Sure.
I'm sorry, I just have one other thing. I'm just checking my pictures, but I think this was one of the homes where it looked like there had been a lot of like garden and lawn debris dumped in the wetland
Yep.
area that should be removed.
It's just not a cleanup, it's a continuous process going forward, so
Mhm.
that should be explained.
Can they add it to the stormwater maintenance plan, or is that, if they have one, or some kind of maintenance plan, or is that, or they don't have one for this?
No, we'll do it as a cleanup, as part of, part of their proposal and a demarcation feature.
I think I meant to ask this before the meeting, but do we operate with a 50-foot upland review or a 100-foot?
50 feet to wetlands, 100 to named bodies of water.
That's what I'm confused about. Thank you.
Yep. No, that's a common. It's common, but a named body is.
Named body. Yep,
yeah,
got it.
That's so.
Yep.
Okay, is there anybody else? Anything?
No.
Okay, we're moving on. EPC 31-2023, 12 McLaren Road South, T. Mirror, to construct an in-ground pool patio, wall, drainage, and related features proximate to the wetlands and watercourses. Property lies along the east side of McLaren Drive South, approximately 180 feet south of McLaren Road, and is identified as map number 7, lot number 34. The zone is R1/2, and it is approximately 0.43453 acres.
Mr. Chairman, the application is to construct an in-ground pool, patio, wall, drainage, and other features proximate to wetlands and watercourses. The application has made its way to the agenda this evening for acceptance and a determination as to the necessity of a public hearing. Staff has been to the site. I know a number of you have been to the site as well. I welcome comments, and I'll be asking of them for additional information to move the application forward. Items such as drainage approval and looking at certain subsurface structures that are there, and landscaping, trees to be removed, trees to be kept, etc.
Good landscaping, so. You have anything, Tim?
Nope, no comments.
Nothing to add, Mr. Chairman.
Carolyn? Lauren?
I did ask about a pool fence. I actually did speak with a homeowner and asked if there were any plans to install a fence, and there aren't at this time, but I was told that if a fence is installed at a later time, it will be outside of the upland review area. So that's good. And then the only other thing is.
Or they have to come back to us.
Exactly, right. Right. I was just thinking on that side, east-west, I'm not sure which one it is, where they want to build up the grade. They're installing they're removing the, are they hemlocks, I think? They're removing the hemlocks and putting in the arborvitae, which I understand why they're doing it, because the hemlocks they've gotten very stocky and they're not really providing the screening that they want. I'm not wild about arborvitae, but I understand, perhaps there could be spruce or something that's a little bit different than the arborvitae, but that's neither here nor there. I also feel, though, that in addition, they should perhaps put some plantings in there on the ground just to provide a little bit of a buffer. And that's all I have.
Yeah, I had some thoughts along those lines too. When I was out there, I saw 12 marked trees with the orange tape around them. But their narrative says that they only planned on removing 7. So I wasn't sure which was right.
That's what we're going to clarify and have them place it on the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was thinking better than arborvitae would be good. And then the stormwater and operations and maintenance plan, if they could just clarify, take out the word recommended and put in required and make it more clear as to what the requirements are.
And who does it?
It says who does it. Actually, and they have a good template too, so it's mostly good. It's just there's a couple opportunities to clarify. What's up?
Thank you. Moving on, EPC 32-2023, 220 Mansfield Avenue, Sameng, to maintain fill installed proximate to the wetlands, watercourses, and special flood hazard areas. The property lies along the east side of Mansfield Avenue, approximately 470 feet south of Buttonwood Road, and is identified as map number 5, lot number 9. The zone is R2, and it is approximately 2.03 acres.
Mr. Chairman, this application is to maintain some fill that was associated with a prior project. It was a pool project with drainage that had been proposed to be outside of regulated areas. Inspection of the site by staff resulted in the determination that the fill had been cast closer to the within the regulated areas, and therefore triggering the need for not only completion of the essential elements of the project, but the requirement for a permit because they want to leave the excavated material in the regulated areas. The item makes the agenda tonight to acknowledge receipt and start the statutory time clock and establish a determination if a public hearing is deemed necessary to evaluate the impacts. I've been out to the site several times, and we'll be generating a list of information needed to move forward, and welcome your thoughts as well.
So their engineer originally did it, proposed the project without impinging on the upland review area. And when it came done to build it, it did come in as impinging on the upland review area, correct?
Yep.
Who was the engineer?
Land Tech.
Land Tech. No, because I'd like to talk to the gentleman when he comes, okay? To sit there and say, hey, we have to take him professionally at his word, okay? But, what happened, okay? Why did he have to impinge upon that? If he said he wasn't, I'd take him at his word, okay? But if but in fact he did as an as-built, okay? I'd like to know why, okay? Because that's,
Right, what would have been the plan to stay outside of the upland review area? They would have had to do a retaining wall.
No, they would have had to either remove the fill like the original intent was, and again, this is the pool contractor.
Okay.
But the development plan was to confine all the development to areas greater than 150 feet to wetlands, out of the special flood hazard area, more than 100 feet to the river. When they did the as-built, we did our inspection. We saw that they had cast, rather than removing the fill from site generated by the pool construction, they had cast it to the right and had graded it off.
Right.
And it resulted in encroachment. So their choice is remove it, restore it back to the way it was, or you can file an application for permit if you seek to maintain it, and that we would evaluate the impacts at that point.
But if they remove, I guess my question is, if they remove it, then there's going to be a huge grade change there. They would have to put in a retaining wall, right? Because, no?
No, they could have graded the way they were going to.
Oh, okay, okay.
there was an original proposal to grade it.
Oh, okay.
And they decided, maybe to save some bucks, I don't know, to sit there and say, well, I won't need to get rid of this fill, I'll just, make it,
Yeah.
it'll look nicer, etc. And I don't know, I mean, this is what we're gonna find out.
So my question is, that's a pretty big hill. And
Yeah.
so my question is there, is the hill composed of soil that in other words, is the hill 100% from soil that was from the excavation for the pool?
No.
So they had to bring in additional soil?
No, they excavated the hole for the pool and cast it over onto what was already hilly.
Oh, onto what was already hilly. Okay, I understood now. Okay. Okay, I didn't realize that it was already hilly. But they didn't bring in any additional soil, and they didn't take any out, so,
I don't believe so. I think it was
Okay.
just casting what they generated from digging the pool hole.
okay, all right. Yeah, no, because it's a sizable hill. It looked bigger than what would come from digging a pool, but
If you look at the existing and proposed conditions.
yeah, it's like 5 or 6 feet difference.
It's like it was 100 cubic yards, right?
Yes,
So that-
yes, 100 cubic yards, that's a
So that
lot.
all came from the pool only?
And and I'm assuming from the installation of the infiltrators as well.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
okay.
So anyway, that would be my question there to the applicant.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything for this application? No?
They did
No?
say that
Okay.
they,
No?
when I was out there, they did say that they would be willing to do plantings as well. I don't know if we're
Okay.
going to suggest that or not.
The next item of business is old business. It's EPC 24-2023, 21 Indian Spring Trail, T. Anthony and B. Anthony, to maintain a stone footbridge and install a restoration landscaping in and approximate to the wetlands and water courses. The property lies along the south side of Indian Spring Trail, approximately 1,585 feet east of Hollow Tree Ridge Road, and is identified as map number 2, lot number 54B-2. The zone is R2, and it is approximately 2.42 acres. Rick?
Chairman, the application is to maintain a stone pedestrian footbridge and restore native vegetation that had been in wetland areas that had been disturbed by prior activities. The agenda summary outlines the history of the property and the application. It had been before the EPC several years ago for the construction of additions. New owners have purchased the property, and in the spring of 2023, we noted that, and in response, we noted that the area along the northeast corner of the property had been disturbed, the soil disturbed, and a footbridge had been installed. We wrote to the owners. They recognized that they conducted regular activities and have filed this application for permit in order to remedy the encroachments. Originally, if you recall, there was going to be a proposal to include a pool house and other additions, but the application has been modified to eliminate those from the application at this point and focus on the restoration activities. The applicant has presented plans to you this evening, primarily in the form of a restoration plan and correspondence. The restoration plan provides for the installation of native planting around the watercourse. We've worked with the applicant. It's been installed on both sides of the watercourse. The plant materials used are native, and for the areas that will not be affected by the planting of buttonbush, winterberry, azalea, and bunchberry, to create meadow in those spaces, more so just to stabilize the soil. They have proposed to do a de minimis addition of topsoil in the wetland just to sustain the meadow grasses. They have provided for erosion controls along the watercourse as necessary to protect the resource. Other items, they have gotten a letter from a structural engineer who evaluated the bridge and the bridge construction based on observations and review of the photographs that had been presented as part of this application, and they feel that it is structurally sound. One of the things, so just in total, it's about 4,200 square feet of the upland review area, 6 feet of the water course, and about 1,000 square feet of the wetlands are going to be affected by the restoration activities. No new trees will be removed, no de minimis amount of impervious surface, not a anticipated impact on drainage for drainage sake as a result of increase in imperviousness. The application seems at this point only to lack a statement from an engineer. Had we had asked about the bridge and the effect, if there's any effect on drainage in adjoining properties from the bridge. So I would think that that would need to come in advance of rendering a decision on that application. Also may want to solicit testimony on the maintenance of this area. If it's meadow, is it going to be seasonal mowings? Is it going to be left in a natural state? And just some details on the meadow application, the seed application. But the applicant's here this evening, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Sure.
This is the applicant.
Is the applicant here? Would you mind, we have questions? And sure, thank you.
No, thank you. You described everything perfectly. However,
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me.
Yes.
Would you please, for the record, identify yourself and your address?
Yes. Denise Bloodgood, 1 Bayberry Ridge Road, Westport, Connecticut.
Okay.
Okay. Everything is accurate, but the landscape architect did say that there was going to be meadow grass, but actually what we wanted to do in the northeast area is there was heavy coverage from the trees and nothing grasses or nothing really seems to really grow. So what we planned on doing is doing the excessive amount of ground cover, but then putting in a hay mulch to stabilize it until that could come, to its maturity. Because they really just don't want to keep maintaining that area and going in there and just cutting down. It's a hard area. It's very, very shaded by very large beech trees. And even some of the ornamental pines, we might come to you next year, they're not even growing. Nothing can thrive in the area. So we're thinking of the whole ground cover area might be the best solution.
Well, one of the things that was pointed out that I think is missing here is to have a statement by that there is no significant long-term impact on the wetlands watershed by this bridge.
It's just not going to adversely impact.
It won't adversely impact. I
The
don't think that,
the drainage as a result of the water course, as a result of the bridge being there. We should have a statement in the file from the engineer concerning that.
Okay.
But I'm not quite sure how to qualify that because, I brought the structural engineer in and the culvert is only a 12-inch pipe that's coming into the property. And the bridge was constructed at least 5 feet by 18 inches high. The area was barely even touched and the stream bed wasn't touched. We just, the landscaper had 9 feet of footings on either side of the bridge. But we just don't know with the engineering there's minimal water in this area too. We just don't know who to hire, or we really don't know what you want from us from the board. We just need that clarified a little bit.
Okay, well, that,
Rick will help us with that.
Rick can help you out
Okay.
with that and guide you. And I'm sure you know a number of people, Rick, that could help them provide that statement. Okay, because that I personally don't have a problem with this. Okay, and it's actually a beautiful bridge, and so but in order to complete the file, as Rick said, I think we need you know, you've clarified what you're gonna do with the meadow and stuff like that, and I think you have a better solution there, rather than mowing or doing anything like that. But to complete the file, we need, you know, there's a statement from one of the people that, you can give her, you know, a couple
So
of
they get a
selections.
statement from a civil engineer, and it could be what the pipe is coming in, this is what the flow is, the bridge did not impede the flow, the opening is such and such, therefore it's
there's
not
more
gonna have
than
an
enough
adverse
space.
impact.
Yeah,
So it's a civil engineer, so that's something you could add to the file if we
Yes.
draft the resolution next month,
yes,
provided we have that, and then it'd be the
Yes.
minor clarifications on the planting
this
plan.
one's not.
right, okay.
So the civil engineer has to, okay, we'll talk about this later.
Okay, so what, we're gonna leave this here, does anybody else have?
I
Sure.
just have a couple questions. So I did want to ask about the plantings because I did notice that it was mentioned that it's a very shady area because of the large shade trees. So you're saying that the ground cover, the bunchberry will continue to be planted there,
Correct.
but not the swamp azalea, the winterberry and so
No, we're
forth?
actually, well, we added those because you said that our last meeting that our planting plan was minimal. So what I asked my client to choose a few that might thrive there, and we upped the planting.
So those will thrive in the shade?
We're not, we're hoping.
And then my other question was if they don't, I mean, is there a plan to, you know, replace them with something that will grow in the shade? Because there are
Well,
natives that will.
we did plant, we did choose shade plants,
Okay.
and there were very few.
And
So
then-
we're hoping they will.
And
they
then
will
my other
thrive.
question is, and Rick, you had mentioned that it's going to be on both sides of the water course, but in the plan, in the mitigation plan, it looks like it's limited to the one side.
We really wanted it to be limited to the one side and keep the grass up to the water course, but however, I think the board kind of swayed that they wanted us to mitigate both areas of it.
Yeah, I mean, just because, you know, it is grass right up until those rocks, and those rocks are very, yeah, but look.
They did it to both sides of the water course.
Is this a different map? This
That's
is
different. That's different than what I
And then you
have.
must have, no, this
This
is
must be an older one.
that's an older one.
Okay,
They went
this
back and modified it in advance of the,
okay, this is the one that's online.
of our planting plan.
This is the one that's online. Right, okay, because I was going to say, those rocks are very loose, so any sort of fertilizers or pesticides that are used on the lawn are going to wash right into the
Correct.
water course.
So we are pulling back the grass and we are mitigating the whole, both sides of
Perfect,
it.
okay, good, great, thank you. That's all I
Just
have.
had a question. The bridge is really a decorative bridge, is it? Because you have the asphalt driveway that will.
It's not asphalt, it's gravel.
Okay.
Decorative,
What's the purpose of the bridge as it was intended?
it's really decorative.
All right, thank you.
There's a stream and it's to get to the other, you know, I believe a wooden bridge was removed that was decaying and they just were adding, the landscapers said, okay, you know, I can build you a better bridge, and the homeowner had no idea that he was violating. Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be more detrimental to take the bridge out, because they really carefully, when they built the bridge, actually, the whole stream bed was not even touched. All the leaves from the pictures you can see, that they didn't disturb it. So they really gently came in and built the bridge by hand. So if I were to remove that bridge, I would have to bring machinery in.
No, we're not suggesting that. Okay, we're not suggesting that. I don't think there's anybody here that, as I understand the commissioners, okay, is suggesting that. Okay, you know, the planting plan, I think you've talked with Rick, and I think, you know, Rick, it meets the staff satisfaction. The next steps is a civil engineer to get that, a letter from a civil engineer saying there's no adverse impact, no significant long-term adverse impacts to the wetlands and water courses. And did we talk about a slight map modification to replace the meadow with?
Right, so if you're going to direct me to draft a resolution for next month's meeting,
Yes.
provided we get the civil engineer's letter concerning drainage impact,
Yep.
And the minor modifications to the landscaping plan in lieu of meadow.
Yep.
It's just gonna be mulching it's mulching it and allowing for the expanded ground covers to occupy the space.
And I did send that to you, the ground cover with the mulching. So,
Okay.
good,
Anybody else have anything here? No? Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Next piece of old business is EPC 26-2023, 7 Greenwood Avenue, S. Lobalbo, to maintain and/or construct a detached garage, walls, patio, and other related features proximate to the wetlands and watercourses, and maintain a patio and walls installed within a special flood hazard area. The property lies along the west side of Greenwood Avenue, approximately 270 feet north of Camp Avenue, and is identified as map number 8, lot number 142. The zone is R1/3, and it is approximately 0.28 acres.
So Chairman, if you recall at last month's meeting, well, let's just say that the application was accepted at the August meeting. At last month's meeting, the applicant's representatives attended the meeting and made a presentation to address the concerns, the issues and concerns that the commission had. And those ranged from the certification of the wall that was adjoining the Norotan River, review and certification of that. They had certified from a structural and floodproofing standpoint a replacement wall that was built significantly in the uplands. They did a drainage mitigation scheme that satisfies the impact requirements outlined by the town, and it had been reviewed by the project engineer. They had, because there had been prior vegetation alterations in the space between the upland areas where the garage is and the river, they have come up with a pretty significant planting plan. They looked at alternatives. In fact, they were removing portions of the gravel base that had been placed down below the river. They did a number of things. They amended erosion along the side of an embankment. And again, all this was triggered by the need to move the garage some number of feet, diminished number of feet, in order to meet the zoning setback. The presentation was made. The questions and concerns of this agency have been satisfied, and I was directed to draft a resolution that is currently here before you tonight.
Okay, I believe the commission members have a draft. I received that draft and had time to review it. Any questions or comments? I'm sure you did your
I
magic.
sent mine to Rick.
Okay, good.
And it was modified.
No questions or comments?
No?
May I have a motion, please?
Yep, I'd like to approve the permit related to EPC 26-2023 at 7 Greenwood Avenue.
Jim? Second.
I'm here to second that motion by Commissioner McGinnis.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, there's no approval of minutes, there's no agent approvals, other business. EPC-05-2021, 8 Woods End Road, W. Glassmeyer and J. Glassmeyer, modification of EPC 05-2021 to maintain an alternately located pool fence / enclosure in and approximate to the wetlands and watercourses. The property is located on the west side of Woods End Road, approximately 600 feet south of Sylvan Road, and is identified as map number 11, lots 21. The zone is R1 and is approximately 0.95 acres.
Chairman, you have a brief agenda summary memo that that highlights the project history and the basis for the modification proposal tonight. For the record, the EPC issued a permit 05-2021 to allow the applicant to a permit to construct a pool, pool fence and patio space and drainage facilities proximate to the wetlands and water courses that bisect the property. The also included was mitigation landscaping along that wetland corridor as well. The original application provided for the pool fence on the landward side of the watercourse, closest to the house, closest to the pool, closest to the road. That was going to be tucked in along the landward side and tied into the existing house. A building permit was issued for this in April of 2021. The EPC had previously approved this application in March of 2021. And inspections that we had conducted in December of 2021 to October of 23 showed that the pool, the spa, drainage and landscaping had installed in substantial compliance with the approved plans and permit. But that the pool enclosure, the fence, had been installed in an alternative location. It was not installed on the landward side of the watercourse, and it crossed the watercourse in two areas. The most pronounced is to the south, where it actually crosses an open channel in the watercourse in a wooded section of the wetland. The applicant was notified of what needed to be addressed as part of a compliance check and show consistency with the permit. And the option was, you return it to the way it was permitted, or you seek a modification of permit to maintain it in its current condition. I see the applicant is here this evening. I'm available to answer questions, and I think that some of you might have gone to the site as well.
Would you like to take the podium, please? Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, I'm Shed Glassmeyer of 8 Woods End Road.
Thank you. What happened?
It's a good question. I guess when it took forever to get a fence person, and we had so much time to kind of noodle over it, that when it came time to building it, we're like, oh my God, this is crazy to be fencing off our yard, and we didn't really think through it. We apologized. We didn't follow normal procedures, and we just did it. But we did it very carefully in that the first crossing on the northern side goes across a land bridge. So there's no, what would you say, Rick? There's no danger of any, right? I mean, it seems like
It's over a piped section of the watercourse.
Oh, okay. So,
Mhm.
all right.
Thank you. And then the second section, what we have is we have a water course, and then we have like this little dam, and the water flows over the dam, and it goes down into like a lower water course in a way, and the fence goes behind that. So it's in a very kind of remote part of the property, and it's in a situation where there's probably, I don't remember, Rick, exactly, but it's like 1.5 feet, 2 feet gap in between probably the bottom of the water course and the fence, something in that neighborhood. Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's in a way that, first of all, the dam would take any sort of branches coming down would be held up by the dam. And then the water would just flow right over the dam down into the water course, so there'd be never ever danger of anything getting clogged up due to the fence, because we have the dam there as like a first buffer, right? And as far as one thing we were thinking about when we were trying to figure this all out is like, do we even need a fence? Because there's talk that the pool cover actually provided sufficient protection.
No, that's law now.
Yeah, so
Okay, I don't
Yeah.
agree with the law, but it's
I don't
law.
agree with it either. That's why we went ahead.
But does your fence serve as an effective, like in the old days before before pool covers were permitted? And does this serve as a pool fence?
Completely, 100%. So we have 2 gates going in from, so if you were to come in the right side of our house, like if you could to come right down Woods End and take a right in our driveway and go straight down our driveway parallel to our house to the right, there's a gate there which only a bigger kid could open, right? A little kid could not open it. And the same thing, our driveway has a loop, and if you go around the left side of our house, we have another fence, and all the code, right? Because we're very cognizant of this, and we definitely, what if we forgot to put the pool cover on? We just didn't want that danger, so we have another gate there that's childproof and follows all the guidelines that are required for pool fences.
Okay, because the issue we have is essentially we don't permit. I'm trying to think of one case, and I've been on this commission now for 13 years, 12 years, where we've had one case where a fence crosses a water course. And just because it's a problem for maintenance, it's a problem for flooding, and so it's a problem for animals to track up and down because they typically use water courses. So the issue is here for me is that you put a fence around the rest of the property. Okay, that to me, it's like, okay.
And there was a fence, and to be clear, there are portions of the property that already had fences from neighbors. So we were required to be to code to have our own fence.
So,
Is redundant.
and I'm fine with that, not personally. Okay, I can't speak for all the commission members, but for me, I'm fine with that. The specific issue is crossing the water course. Okay, and that I've got. That's my hang-up. I'll be frank. Is the rest of it is the rest of the fence is like okay, so is it near the upland review area, et cetera, Yeah, but I can get past that. Okay. What is critical for me is crossing the water course because it creates all sorts of problems. Okay, for animals as well as debris, et cetera, because the problem with debris is you may be religious about taking the debris out, at every storm or before every storm or during every storm, but the subsequent homeowner may not be, and that creates problems for downstream as well as upstream. So anyway, I'd like to get other commission members involved
And
here.
before you guys even opine, I think before even making the decision on this I think it's really important that you see it. Because if you saw it, you'd understand that, I think if you saw it, and Rick, once again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you'd get comfort with it because of the way the dam is there that provides this first buffer. And the water's always going to flow over the dam, right? But it's going to catch anything major, period, that would go over. And then even where it goes over, there's an ample enough.
So for example, you have a pool fence for insurance purposes, obviously. I mean, does the insurance company accept that because you have the space, but you have a dam and you have the fence over because people can,
Once again,
listen, you and I in our better days have snuck into more pools than we care to count. But
if there was a kid that snuck in that way, it would be 1 in a million.
Okay.
They're not going to. They would figure out other ways. That would not be the way they would go. I can guarantee it.
So the insurance company has accepted that?
I think they said we don't even need a fence because we've got.
Because they got pool cover. Yeah.
So that's why we. Sorry, I took to put you guys through all this, but we were very conscientious about how we did it and making sure there was no choke point if water did overflow and. Yeah, so.
Anyway, ladies, would you like to?
I haven't been to the site yet, but just looking at her pictures, can they raise the fence above the water course more? I mean, it's only looks like it's only a few inches.
No, not where, coyotes come right through there now, and it's a problem because we've got dogs, and it's, they come right through the water course and they zip out underneath one of our areas of our fence, and.
I have a bobcat in my backyard.
Were you the one? The lucky one? This is what you get for being on the EPC.
No, what are you feeding it?
Small children and small dogs.
Cats.
We have a bobcat hunting season in the state of Connecticut, I wonder, probably not.
Anyway,
But that's all I would ask, is that
Okay.
before saying no, I would just really want you all to see, because I think you guys are the pros, obviously, but I think if you were to see it, you'd understand how we had comfort with it.
okay.
Yeah, so I accept that, it probably needs to be seen, so I'll take you up on that personally and take a look. But I do have a couple of questions. Was the original application, maybe Rick knows this better, subject to a public hearing? Or
I
not?
don't know, no, we did it on Zoom, I don't remember how that,
Yeah, that was the Zoom, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know
So
when
I'd be
that was.
interested.
I don't believe so.
It probably wasn't, but if it were, then that would raise a question in my mind.
I don't feel like it was, but.
No, I don't think so. I remember the application well, and I don't think it was, I don't think there was a public hearing because it wasn't new construction, it wasn't sort of,
Right,
it wasn't considered, is this really in the public interest?
right,
It was sort of, that was,
likely not.
you know, it was-
No
I don't-
public hearing.
No.
Okay,
I would also like to see the original plan and then what was built. So,
Yeah,
and
and that's what that's
Yeah,
what
you can
it
see
is.
that.
which one is that?
Is
Which,
it the blue? With the blue?
The blue is the
Can we-
current location.
Yeah, I
and-
feel like I'm in the abstract here. What specific document should we be
Yeah.
looking at?
right. That's it.
ah,
There's the blue fence.
So that's current
glass-
conditions or what was
That-
approved
So
originally?
No,
It's glass-
this is the revised
Second
fence.
from the bottom.
second from the bottom, thank you.
Okay, right, so I'm familiar with the blue highlighter version, but that's not a survey, correct? That's, the applicant drew that in, or the
That was the
applicant's
proposed
vendor
plan.
drew that in?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
You
did that.
wanna do
Right,
explain
so
this?
that doesn't, no disrespect to the applicant, that's, to me, to keep this, the way that we treat all applicants is the approved, proposed, and the as-built. And my understanding is the applicant built something that wasn't the approved plan.
I have the same understanding.
So then, for the record and our understanding,
Where's that plan?
where's that plan? So I would recommend to the board that the applicant get Seymour or whomever to create a as-built. And then we know what we're talking about. And we could certainly go out to the site and see it. And then my only other comment would be, why not just not cross the water course? Why not just put it where it was approved?
I guess we were thinking about the Codys, we had neighbors that were,
I mean, isn't that all kind of germane, though? Everybody has to comply with the regs, so why would you be any different than anybody else? Everybody has coyotes and bobcats and,
Deer.
I mean, this is it's potentially a dam to the water course, right?
Well, there is a small dam there already at the south end.
So are we exacerbating the
No,
situation?
No, shouldn't do that, but I'm just saying, there is a dam there, and I think what, we should do, because two people have mentioned that they haven't visited the site. Okay, in order to have the commission, and I take Mr. Glassmeyer's suggestion, that, okay, we go out and visit the site, we go out and, Rick, the original 2020, was the original application of
2021.
of 05/2021, we should, see that, okay, so that, we can go out and compare to see that, and then to have the as-built, okay, today would have to be done by,
Yeah, I just think this sets germane to your application, germane to you individually, but as it relates to the board and the way that we make decisions, I just think this is a slippery slope that sets every case is viewed uniquely, but it's an odd precedent, I was approved to do A, and I did something different, and now I'm coming back to the board for a modification, which potentially has an adverse impact to the wetland, which is the purpose of the commission. And what we're discussing is a modification where the applicant has taken a blue highlighter to a plan, and quite frankly, I'm just stating the fact.
But if
So-
we are to approve the modification, we're still gonna need to have a survey
Correct.
modification approval, right?
Right, there you go.
So
Is
would
that
you
true?
recommend
Or a
that-
plan to look at prior to that approval. I can't prove something unless I see that plan from 2021,
Right.
to be able to compare to what you're looking at.
And then
here.
maybe an engineer or a soil scientist, a wetland scientist would need to opine and make the statement for the record that there's no, potentially, I mean, we may disagree, whether there's an adverse impact to the wetland.
Same as the bridge we just
I
talked
mean,
about.
your fence is already there, so you're not asking us to let you expedite an application so you could start digging in the ground before a winter freeze, right?
Not at all.
So we're just following a process.
Understood.
Okay. Okay.
And just to add to that, we have also had other homeowners who have installed fences, and we've had them move their fences to the side of the water course.
Yes.
So our
What they
consistency, I
to
think,
make
is
sure they didn't
important
cross
as
the water
well.
course.
Right, right.
That's
To make sure they didn't
right,
cross the water course.
To make sure
I
they
mean,
haven't
Hamilton
crossed the
Lane
water
did too on
course.
Hamilton
Yeah, I
Lane.
remember
agree with
those,
that.
yeah.
Because if they had kept it where, in its original
Exactly.
position, it would have been
Yeah.
crossing the water course twice at least, and be very, very proximate. This, from the map, most of this fence, is not near the water course except for 2 points where it crosses. So,
Is your main focus on, so you have the pool safety issue is addressed. Is your focus on coyotes?
We have a King
I'll go out to the
Charles, and we
site.
have a-
For the record, I haven't seen the site,
Yeah,
okay? So, so the commission the commission gave you an approval to do your proposed, and you went and did something different.
Correct.
What was the rationalization for doing something different? Were you thinking coyotes when you were doing it?
I guess we were thinking, and I.
Hindsight's 20/20, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, what was the reason for doing what you did?
I think we were thinking, it all got muddled with, did we even need a fence? And then, honestly, we lost sight of the water course to some degree. And we were more focused on, do we build the fence where it's approved? Or do we just protect our entire property from coyotes and what have you? Because we have a little King Charles Cavalier, and we have a golden.
He's at risk.
What's that?
He's at risk.
if you have coyotes.
The coyote's gonna get in there no matter what kind of fence
Yeah.
it does.
I
Yeah.
mean, one of the things we have done is,
And then we've learned that, they come right through, which we thought that
It's
they
a
would.
coyote.
they're very inventive, and they're smart.
They're as smart as.
And if they see something to eat, they're, being a chicken owner, I can say that, or former chicken owner, they're gonna find a way, okay? And if it's, because that's dinner, and they find a way, and they'll dig under, over,
Yeah.
it's
The
just one
fence
of those,
doesn't stop them.
it has to be.
That was a big
Where the
misconception
fence
of ours,
is
we
placed,
thought.
it doesn't stop.
And our job is the Environmental Protection Commission, not the Wildlife Commission.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
So this is the balance that we play.
Well, I'm not sure. I think part of our state mandate is to be aware of wildlife as they use the wetlands and water
Water courses.
courses.
Yeah,
In
definitely.
connection to regulated property. So I'd say we do have to consider that too.
Anyway, okay. So, we need the original, we need an as-built, and what else do we say? I think.
This is the as-built, is it not?
Not really,
No, I mean, the
no.
plan that was on there is the original, and it shows the fence going on the landward side of the water
Okay,
course.
here,
And it wraps,
so it's, okay, so that's that,
and it
okay.
wraps up in in kind of a circular area.
Mhm.
This was, shown by Mr. Glassmeyer as following the property boundaries, what he installed.
Mhm.
So they tripled the size of the fence. It was
So
originally.
the fence was right around there, yes.
Okay.
which a lot,
Goes into the pool side.
Yes.
and there's existing fencing over, across most of that. Our neighbors to the south of us have a pool, so they have a fence that goes around their entire property.
Sweet.
The people behind us towards Brookside, they have a fence along their entire property. And there's also a pool fence on the other end of the property as well. So there's actually a fair amount of redundant fencing, but we
Yeah,
were told that.
But none of those
Yeah.
cross water courses.
No.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. So, all right,
This,
so,
I can't follow this.
all right, so
Yeah,
the original fence is supposed to go right along the edge of the water course.
And
So
so,
it's
Right,
like-
right there.
If it's
Okay,
like-
and so what happens is,
So, so here's where the
Sorry.
original, it keeps
Sorry,
turning. So,
anyway, here.
use this.
Here's
okay.
there's something good about
So
it.
right here. So here's the water course, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
the original approved fence is right there.
So it went from here to here?
Yeah. It went from
Just from here to here?
To here, yeah. So this is what was
Get an as-built.
done.
So it still crossed the water course here?
No, it didn't. It didn't. It stopped
We want
right
the friends to
there.
go visit.
Something like that.
Yeah, it stopped right there.
and the
I
one where you're,
like-
the one where you're looking, there's a land bridge there, so there's like a strip of lawn going
Yeah.
across.
Thank you.
Or mitigation, redundancy.
So I think we have our marching orders. We'll get Seymour to draw up an as-built, and please don't hesitate to call me, and I'd be happy to meet you to,
Sure.
and feel free to
Well,
go without
well, we
me,
are
but-
gonna, Jane, I know we're gonna come and visit. Okay, you have at the suggestion, so we'll be happy to, because, you're right, maybe we have to go see it. I mean, I'm sure we have to go see it. And there's no urgency because it's done, so it's, as you said, it's not, we're not going to, you don't have to put a shovel in the soil
We don't.
before frost. So let's do this, by the book here. Okay?
Yes.
So we're deferring action to
Yes.
allow for inspection and the submission of an as-built.
Yep, and visitation by all the members. We'll get Bill. Bill will be back December or whenever the next time we meet, so. Okay?
And an engineering opinion.
Rich, Rick, could you give me like what?
The list.
Yep.
Just what we need to do.
Yep.
Well, once again, we're very sorry. We don't, it's not usually how we roll, but it just happened, and no explanation.
No problem. Okay, that's why we're here.
Fixable.
So, anyway, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
No, thank
for
you.
coming. And when all the paper, everything's submitted, we'll see you again.
And then we're happy for you guys to come whenever you
Sure.
want,
Mhm.
Thank you.
but if you want
No.
to call, I'm happy to.
No, well,
It's just easier to-
I'm sure you piqued everybody's interest here, so. Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you all.
Okay, so Rick, you all set on that now? I don't have anything else? Motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the regular meeting Wednesday, November 1st.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Yep, thank you very much. We're off the record.
Meeting in a long time.